we're back at the cave, and today we're going to talk about kegerators. Let's see if you even want a kegerator. That's the big thing. Kegerators are kind of like, for me, they're kind of like a hot tub. I had a hot tub a couple years ago, and it was great. It was the best thing on the planet for about the first 6-7 months. Then I never used it, and I would clean it, and I would run it, and I would very seldom use it. So it was just this huge novelty, and once all that wore off, I ended up selling it because it was just a pain in my butt, because it was something I had to work on all the time. Well, not even work on, but keep up with. Now the kegerator, on the other hand, in my case, is not like that. A kegerator, I use kegerator a lot. I drink a lot of beer. So if you drink a lot of beer, or you have a lot of social gatherings, kegerator's the way to go. It frees up any kind of space you're looking for in your refrigerators, and I don't know, I think it's a better tasting beer. I like it. It's more smooth to me. Now there's other people that don't like it, and to each their own. But kegerators come in a huge swing of prices. You can get them anywhere from right around $400 up to, if you get like a true kegerator, TRU, it's about, I want to say those go about $1,400–1,500 for a single keg. I got mine is a Danby, and I got mine off Craigslist for $200. And when you're buying a kegerator, I suggest going to places like Craigslist or other local sites, Facebook site maybe or whatever, because all you're buying is the refrigerator. Everything else in the kegerator, I've replaced everything on my kegerator, and I think I'm in for about like $260, $270. And I only replaced it because I wanted to upgrade a little bit in some areas, and other areas it just made sense to get something different. And I also had a regulator that was not holding good pressure. So, well, with that said, let's get into some of the parts of the kegerator. Alright, there's my kegerator. Obviously this tall part here is called the tower, and then the kegerator itself is down below. I built mine into the bar. Most people don't, because this little drip tray that it comes with has little feet on it in most kegerators, and it sits in and locks in. I actually just bought this big guy here that I have not installed, but it'll run the length of my kegerator, and then I also have, it has the drain built in, and I'm just going to put it right to the outside of my my bar. I'm going to have a trap in it, just so everybody understands. You need a trap in something like that, because if not, you're going to get gnats and everything else is going to come up through your drain, and that's something you don't want. So this is it. This model here I just got online. I saw it for $693. Like I said, I got about $260 into mine right now. And we can open her up, and I'll show you what the inside here looks like. On the front, I got a little temperature setting, which is kind of nice. Okay, inside here, this is kind of modified a little bit. I got the keg, obviously, up front. Down here is a tower cooler that I built, and I'll talk about that a little more. In the back here is my CO2 tank. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I have a dual regulator, so I get the line pressure and the tank pressure, which is in the back there. This is actually a circulating fan for your kegerator. I'm yet to see one of these work properly, so I just have this little computer fan, and it circulates the temperature, and it does a really good job. The thermostat for your kegerator, you won't be able to see because it's behind the kegerator, or behind the keg, but it's down in this corner. The way the kegerator works is the whole back piece here, again, I don't know if you can see that or not, is the cooling mechanism, and it runs the length of your keg. So the back side of the kegerator is always cool, and with it being liquid, it transfers the temperature pretty good. Now, the whole reason I have I built this little guy here. This is a tower cooler that if you get on YouTube you can find all kinds of videos on how to make them. It reduces the foam because your tower here does not get a lot of cool air up in there, so your first pour will be foamy. But as long as you circulate the air through there, then it keeps it cool. And you know, obviously it's not getting much circulation because cold air falls to the ground where the hot air rises. So that's it. And I'm sure everybody around pretty much knows how to work a keg. But there's a lot of people that don't. When you pour a beer, you don't want to grab at the top. A lot of people do, but when you grab at the top, it takes longer to pull it forward. And what you want to do when you pour a beer is you want this full open and full close. You don't want any kind of feathering in between. So if you grab it at the base, it's a lot faster when you go full open. Also, you want to have your glass at an angle. That way the beer isn't splashing in there and creating more foam, because the less foam you have on your beer, the better. It'll just, it's better for everybody. So we'll see if we can sit this down and I'll show you the correct way to pour a beer. And there is a little bit of foam there, but that's how you want it. Right now the pressure is a little high on the coming off the CO2, and I'm gonna have to adjust it because it shouldn't be coming out that fast. I try to keep the line pressure anywhere from 5 to 6 pounds only. The slower it comes out, yeah, it takes more time coming out, but you'll get better results in your pours, and that's pretty good pour. So we'll go over a little bit about the components. Okay, this is the first piece to your kegerator. This is a Sano valve. I think I'm saying that right. But there's a pressure relief here, and then this actually sits on your keg, and it's threaded, and I want to say it's about a quarter turn, and it locks. And this is cammed. If you can tell, it gets thin here and it gets tighter. Once you put it on there to lock it in, you push this in, and all of a sudden now you got beer going up through your hose here. Your CO2 comes in here, and that's what's supplying your tank, and then the beer comes out this top. I replaced this on mine only because I wasn't sure if I was really getting a good seal. It never seemed like I was, which would have been an easy fix because you just take this gasket off here and you replace this gasket, which also there's two gaskets. This goes on the inner part of your connection, and then the outer seal here. Oh, I don't know if you saw that or not. This is the inner part, and this is the outer part. I've had this seal come off and stay on the keg before, so when you go to turn in your keg and get a new one, make sure that both your seals are still on your valve here. And that's pretty straightforward, nothing really fancy about that. Your next piece is your regulator. Now, I had to replace my regulator because this one wouldn't hold pressure. I'm not sure who makes this. Let's see if I can see here. Oh, heck, I'm not sure. But I kind of did some research, and there wasn't a whole lot of rebuild parts for it. The one I got in there now is basically the same thing. You have your tank pressure, and it has a little red area that says, you know, replace the tank. And then your line pressure, and this is the pressure that's going to your keg. The one I got, instead of having this screw with a set nut on it, there's a little knob on it, and it's just more user friendly. I believe I got that from Kegerator.com. But that is your regulator, and sits on your CO2 tank right here. CO2 tank will have a handle on top. They last forever. I think I go through about, I don't know, 6 or 7 kegs before I have to get a tank refill. So that's not really an issue, and it's fairly cheap. I think it's $14 or $12 maybe to refill it. All right, then this is your pour spout, I guess. I did upgrade mine. This one, how it works is there is a shaft that runs the length of this, and I'll take it apart for you. This little knob here slides into your valve right there, so it would go in like this, and it moves back and forth. This would sit in here like so. The back of it here is what the beer is actually up against, so when you open the valve, it pushes it forward, the beer comes through and then goes out the nozzle. The problem with this style of tap is if you don't use this every day, so even if you go like a day and a half, 2 days in between using it, as you can see, it's hollow, and then when you put this guy in, the front of it comes out. What happens is you have contact with air around this area, so it will stick, and it's just not as clean. It sticks, and it's really, when it sticks a lot, so you got to kind of work it back and forth just to get it open. And once you do that, it's good for the rest of the day, really. But you know, you're getting bacteria and everything else growing around that seal, so I ended up replacing it with this guy here. And as you see, there's nothing exposed to the air. What's in here is actually just a little ball, and let me see, I think I got alright, here's a little better drawing. This is what I got now. On the end of this handle here is a ball, and it sits in a seat, so there's nothing exposed to the air. The beer will never stick. It's always in this area. It's just a better setup. This is the old setup here, the one that I just showed you I took apart. This slides back and forth. You're exposed to the air. It'll dry up, it'll start sticking, bacteria will grow. It's just not a good setup. A couple other things that you're going to need are a couple of wrenches. This wrench here, it has a little hook on it, and the hook sits, there's holes on this guy, so when you go to clean it, it sits in that hole, and you can just turn that, and this whole piece comes right off. It's threaded. This other wrench, again, this I definitely got from Kegerator.com. It says it right on it. But inside here, there's a nut inside this deal here, and the nut will get loose occasionally. So it has a hole, so you can go over the tubing. The tubing inside there looks like that. Oh, looks like that. And then the nut would be right on this end part that sucks into your piece that goes into your faucet. And this combination wrench also, if you look close enough, it has a little hook right there, so it can also be used on this also. But those are really the only tools that you need to operate the kegerator. Alright, here's a little better example. I don't know if this is coming out. I think it's coming out okay. This is your Sano valve. Your beer's coming out the top. Your CO2 is coming in through the side. This is actually sitting on the keg. Quarter turn. This handle pulls out, and you bring it down, and it locks it into the keg. Real simple stuff there. This is your regulator setup. CO2 bottle comes out. This is your regulator itself, and there's either going to be a set screw or some kind of handle, and you'll have your line pressure and your tank pressure, and then of course it goes out to your keg. So that's really all it is. The tower cooler, again, was that little black box that I had. It has a computer fan going into utility box, a hose going up, and then it literally just feeds up through here into the tower, and the air circulates so it stays cool and you just get a better pour with it. Again, I would go with a used kegerator. It just makes more sense. The money that you'll have into it, even if you I replace every single part in there other than the refrigeration unit, and that's really all you need. And I'm in for it for $260. This particular model, like I said, was $693. I just saw it online before I started filming this. So there you have it. What I would do though is I'd ask yourself, do you drink enough beer, or do you entertain enough to justify having it, and is it just an impulse thing that you really think you need and want? Because my bar, I've had my bar for, well, I built it in 2014, and for the first 2 years I just had refrigerators and it worked fine. Matter of fact, it worked great. One of the biggest things I like about the Kegerator is I don't have bags upon bags of empty cans and empty bottles. I still do, because I usually only have one kind of beer on tap. I'll have Bud Light, Miller Lite, whatever I can get. I usually get Bud Light just because it's there's a distributor really close to me. It's about 5 miles away, where the Miller Lite is more of a trip for me to get. Well, and that's about it. So if you like this video, please subscribe. And of course, like, comment, whatever you want to do there. Thumbs up, thumbs down if you don't like it. But give me some feedback, and that'll be great. Any questions you have, again, on the Kegerator, I'll be happy to answer for you. Again, you can, even if you just want to buy the kit to put on an old refrigerator, that's great too, because those work really well. I have a couple buddies that have those, and that's something you might want to look into also. It's definitely a cheaper alternative. So that's it. I'll talk to you next time.